Good evening. I am Sam, and you are listening to Chilliteracy, where, in a short while this evening, we will continue on our journey through William Hope Hodgson's The Nightland. Some of the pauses and hesitations there are me just checking that, like, my audio is all set up. Why do I have... Oh, I know why desktop audio, whilst muted, is still coming through. That's because I am restreaming myself by having the stream open in the background. Unfortunately, it's not being picked up by OBS, otherwise, that would be hell for all of you. Hello, hi, welcome in. Hopefully you can't hear my fan that I have on. He's just a chill little guy. He just sits in the corner of the room going, yeah, you can do it. Blowing cool air in my direction. Well, it's not that cool, but blowing air and, moving air is better than static. It's not as hot as it has been, but it's warm. So I thought I'd turn my fan on to a very low setting and just have it pointed at me from over in another corner. And hopefully that's not coming through. It didn't seem like it was. It certainly wasn't activating the mic if I just shut my mouth. There we go. So it's not spilling through in that way, but it might be coming through when I'm talking. So I don't know. Hopefully at least the rain noise that we have in the background is cancelling some of that out. Thunder, hello. How is everyone? Yeah, okay, I think. Can't say long. Unfortunately, we pop in and say hi anyway. Well, it's always good to see you. Yeah, I hope you're doing well. Doing alright. Got no conflicts for a change, so you can probably be here for the duration. Hell yeah. Wasn't here for previous installments of this one, so you're not familiar with it, so this should be interesting. I think chat will readily tell you that both, I think being here or not for the previous parts of the story won't really help your ability to, pass what's going on. It doesn't help too much to have been here. Both sides of the fence are looking across at each other going, do you understand this? It has many words that are employed in not particularly contemporary. I was looking conventional. No, Sam, it's not conventional. No, it wasn't Juggle the first time. Contemporary is the word I was looking for. Fashion. It's weird. It's vibes. I'll say it every time. I think I have the slightly easier job on this side of the microphone because I'm reading it off the page, which does allow me a fraction more context for what the words I'm saying mean in any given sentence, frankly. Which then surely it should be my job to convey that through the microphone to you. Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to do, but it's difficult. There is a plot, but there's a lot of words to make it happen. I stopped reading a sentence and he got confused before the sentence ends. Yeah, so what it is the author William Hope Hodgson, who was around at the start of the 1900s, died in World War One, wrote a lot of, by our reckoning, pretty good stories and short stories. And this one he wanted to be sort of his great work, and seemingly the best way I can describe the writing style is not my own words, it comes from other sources, is it's like his attempt at writing some sort of ancient Greek epic or something kind of biblical, in the sense of this sort of very, very grand vision for a setting and a super cool, awesome, you seriously have no idea how cool this guy is, protagonist. he's so cool, bro. Oh my goodness, everyone wishes they could be him, like for reals. And like the way that it's written is seemingly meant to evoke a very old classical style, and it's not in any way like flowery. It's incredibly dry, like the huge sections of the Bible, if you've read it, that are all so and so begat so and then so and so begat. It's just like long. It's just telling you stuff that happened. I'm still learning how to read it properly, because I have a tendency to, if I read the word "that" in a sentence, for example, it's indicating something. I pointed at that thing, that being the thing that I am pointing at, like indicating an object or whatever. In this, I will give it that emphasis, only to realize it's not. It's more used. I would like to find an example, but that means picking up the book and leafing through it, which is a lot of dead air. Don't worry, we'll encounter it pretty quickly, and hopefully I'll try and get it right, and you'll see what I mean. In a similar fashion to pretty much every sentence, not more than every other sentence, but not quite every sentence. So let's say 3 to 4/5 of the sentences begin with the word "and." It's a choice, and that is used in a similar fashion. It's almost, it doesn't conform to, say, our modern grammatical standards. And so it's been a bit of a challenge for me to learn how to read this. And it's been a bit of a challenge for everyone listening to key into what he's saying. Hodgson's absolute hatred for dialogue makes my brain go, no. Yeah, there's also, it's very light on dialogue. But then what drew me in is just this fantastical setting, which is, so it's set kind of simultaneously some amount of million years in the future. Oh, Thunder, thank you for the 49 months. You can now now you have your new job. You can do this again. Oh, that's, congratulations. Putting the sub aside, that's super cool. You've got a new job. Hell yeah. That's awesome. I'm really happy for you. Now what was I saying? So it's set both some million years in the future, maybe several, I don't know, long distant time in the future, where the sun has gone dark, hence the Nightland, and all the population, the remaining human population, live in a giant pyramid that is some miles high up, which, we'll put physics aside. He was writing in 1910s. Maybe a little bit before then, actually, I'm not sure. I think it was published in 1911, not sure. And they live in a giant metal pyramid that, it has obviously many flaws, and your protagonist is a sort of youngish guy who works somewhere near the top with the Monstruacans, which is a bizarre name for the scholars of that era. No, Thinder. That's the name now, sorry. Works sort of up at the top of the pyramid with the scholars, and had access to a giant telescope, which he would use to survey the land and stuff. Also, in cool protagonist skills, he has what is referred to in the book as, the power to use his, what is referred to in the book as, brain elements. Basically, he's got psychic powers. It takes place in a time when they live in a shape. Yeah, there you go. You're up to speed. But kind of the weird twist is that the framing device for this is that it is written from the perspective of someone who is an undetermined amount of time in the past, who, stricken by grief at the loss of his love, a woman who he had a slightly difficult courtship with, but eventually realised, oh, they were just playing pranks on each other, and they got married, and then she died in childbirth. And then in his grief, he started having extremely vivid, real to him dreams of this far distant future time. So what we are reading is this guy from the past's grief-stricken dreams being recounted as this story, as one does, exactly. So that's the story we're reading, and that's the in-story framing device for it. Because seemingly no one was capable in this of just saying, here is a guy and here are some things that happened to him. It always has to be, so an interesting thing happened to a friend of mine the other day, and here's the story that he told me from the guy that he met down the pub one time. All the stories that we read, ghost stories, weird fantasy stories, all have to have this kind of framing device of it's totally real. It happened to a guy that I know that met someone. It barely even takes place in it. No, it takes place in multiple non-specified but far distant times. It's a trip. And also frustratingly, the chapter lengths, this is just a me thing really, but it affects us all. It's our problem, comrades. The chapter lengths don't fit neatly into a stream run time, so a lot of streams lately have been cut a bit short to kind of end the reading at a decent break point in the middle of a chapter that I might be in, for instance. And guess what? Hey Sam, why are you bringing this up? That's because tonight is no different. Chapter 9 is going to be cut in half, unless the parents can decide amongst themselves who is the rightful keeper of this child. So we're going to not be reading all of chapter 9 tonight, but around about half of it, which means the stream will be short and the breaks come a little bit early. But that's okay, because when eventually we get to chapter 10, that actually seems to be a good stream length's worth of chapters, so we can all look forward to that. Honestly, as well, it's given myself a little bit of an out, because it's quite a hard read. It's for those who are new here, you'll see what I mean when we get into it. But it's quite a laborious text to read and to stay focused on. And lately, not just due to the heat, I don't exactly know what's causing it, but not just the weather and the temperature. I've been struggling to actually focus myself on the words on a page for an extended amount of time, and when the words on the page actively refuse to flow and it feels as though you are fighting them every sentence to try and make sense of them, it can be a bit of a labor. And I'm aware that this rod for my own back is one of my own design, in a sense, in that I elected to read this book and have stubbornly decided, no, we're going to finish this thing, because I appreciate the challenge. Coming from someone who has been witnessed spending how many hours was I against that one boss in Elden Ring? In the DLC, was it an 8-hour stream fighting one boss, which isn't the longest anyone has ever done, but for me that was certainly, that's a record. So many hours, yeah, exactly. So that was sometimes a bit of stubbornness, a bit of tenacity can go a long way. The worst story I've ever read was Arthur Machen's The White People, because not only is it barely coherent, but most of the story has no paragraph breaks. Do not attempt it. Oh, that sounds fun. Probably then on that, for me, after seeing The Road, the film starring Viggo Mortensen and boy, I don't know who plays the kid. Wait, have I? No, I haven't seen it. No, what am I talking about? I've never seen the film. I've only read the book. That's it. After The Road by Cormac McCarthy got big and popular after the film, Well, Sam, you think no one's reading Cormac McCarthy before? No, of course they were. That's not what I'm saying. But to me, I became aware of The Road after the film, and I hadn't seen the film, but I saw the book in a charity shop and was like, okay, fine, I'll buy the book, I'll pick it up and give it a read. Running face first into the plate glass window of Cormac McCarthy's writing style, not knowing what, like, that's, if you've not seen how that guy writes, don't look it up, just pick up a book and try reading and see what happens. It's, yeah, I don't want to spoil it for the those that know kind of what I'm referring to. And like, I've not actually read any of his other books. Maybe whoops, I just punched the mic. I don't think The Road is the only book that he wrote in that way, but I realise now I haven't actually read anything else of his. So maybe that's just a one-off, but I'm led to believe that that's just how the guy writes his books. So, you know, yeah, I've read things that I would consider challenging. Actually, yeah, looking up at my bookshelves as well. The Quantum Thief by Hanu Rajaniemi is another, like, that's a hell of a book to read. It's like distant future sci-fi. And I think his intent with it was, as some authors do, I'm not going to explain anything. That's for you, the reader, to figure out. I'm going to use all sorts of terminology and things, and we're not going to have like an audience cipher. There's not going to be someone who is standing in for you, the reader, who, when someone goes, hey, I'm going to use this quantum, what's it? Great. There's no one that's going to go, what do you mean by that? Well, here's what I mean by that, and then explain it to them. It's just, I'm gonna do this thing. And you, the reader, get to infer what they're talking about, what they mean, how it works, by what then happens. And there's a whole lot of that. And it's good. It wasn't what I was expecting when I bought it from the bookshop. And yeah, it's sort of not even like willfully obtuse, like gleefully obtuse. Love a Quantum What's It? Yeah. When you get like a whole like ball of cheese powder at the bottom of the bag, that's the good stuff. So yeah, this as I say, I've read stuff that for me and my competence would consider challenging, and this is challenging in a different way. But also, I've sat here talking for like 20 minutes now, and that's not just to compensate for the fact that it's going to be a shorter stream. But it is a little. However, if we don't start on our journey, we'll never get anywhere. So, if we are all ready... how's that segue into reading? If we're all ready, your text, if you'd like to read along, it doesn't take you directly to the chapter, but there's a link at the top of chat or in the description below the video if you're watching on YouTube. Hi YouTube, how you doing? You're looking fine today, if I might say so. There is your text if you would like to read along. We are going from chapter 9, and let's see how we go as we continue through The Nightland by William Hope Hodgson. Chapter 9, The Dark Pyramid. Now, in 2 hours more I was come clear out of the gorge, and stood in that country, and, for all that I did feel fresh troubled and bewildered, yet was I rejoiceful, as you may believe, in the surprising light and splendour of that sudden land. And before that I had come down out of the great gorge, I had stood high within the mouth thereof, and looked well out over the mighty country. And I had counted 27 great volcanoes, and this doth not take heed of 2 monstrous ranges of fire hills that burned afar off, something unto my right. neither doth it take account of 100,000 lesser places of fire. And truly it did seem a very land of fire and water, for there was a small fire hill stood within a sea, as it did seem no more than a little mile from that place where I did stand, and maybe a score to the back of it, spread all about. And here shall I do proper to tell concerning the seas, for there were of these that I did count at that time 3 that were small, and a mighty sea that went onward for ever into the red light of the fire hills, so that it was gone utterly out of my sight, and did show no ending. And there rose up out of the seas islands, and on the islands volcanoes, but in other parts the fire hills did come upward straightly from the sea, and over the near sea, as it did seem, there lay a plenitude of steam, as that the sea did boil at whiles and in divers places. And there did seem to me, as it were within the red atmosphere of that place, as that there were a muttering thunder, low and constant, shaking the air, now from that distance and now from this. And this did I judge to be the voices of the fire hills, speaking with the fire that lived in them. And you shall conceive how utter new was all this unto me, for there was in that country a constant voice of the energy of life, so that the world noise of this our age was even there again, and with a keen and undoubted apparentness, and the more so some ways than now. And here shall I set down more closely the things that were ready to my gaze. And first, that it did much attract me, there was a huge and blackened mountain unto the left of the mouth of the gorge, and the mountain did go upward into the night, maybe 15 and maybe 20 miles. And there was a mighty peaked volcano that grew out from the side of the mountain, so high up as 5 miles, as I did guess that height, and this was upon the far side. And above this there was a second, maybe 9 or 10 great miles up in the blackness of the night, that hung afar upward. And, as that this were not great wonder enough, there did burn and glow 2 other mighty fire hills at an utter height upon the left crest of that black mountain, and these were upward so monstrous a way, as that they did seem to make strange and smouldering suns within the night. And truly, as you shall perceive, this was a wondrous thing. And below these upward fire hills there rose up from the earth vast mountains of ash and burned stuff, that had been cast forth by these perched volcanoes, and had poured downward unto the earth throughout eternity, and so to build grey and sombre monuments unto the dreadful glory of time. And to my right there was always sea, and the red blazing of the fire hills. But unto my left there were mighty forests, and there rose upward here and in that place, as that they were beyond the great woods, monstrous fire hills. And so do you take from me something of that first impressing upon my brain and sense. And after that I had come down out of the mouth of the great gorge, as I did tell a little while gone, I came upon a pause. For, surely, which way was the proper way unto my search? And I looked about for a great while, and afterward I did climb back into the gorge, and called myself foolish, that I had not thought to map my way ere I came down. And when I was come up into the gorge again, lo, I saw that there was but one way that I should go. For truly, as I have said, there was only the seas unto my right. But unto the left, where the shores did meet the seas, there seemed, so far as mine eyes did tell to me, a clear way for a space. And, mayhap, when I had come so far, I should even find a further way to go forward. And so did I descend again unto the country of the seas, as I did ever call that red shining country of water and fire. And by that I was come again from the height of the gorge. It was 24 hours since that I did last sleep, so that I was fain that I should put into some nook, and come to slumber, as you shall well believe. And I found me a neat and proper place, where 3 great trees grew about a little basin of rock that was very dry and warm. And here, after that I had eat 3 of the tablets, and drunk some of the water, the while that my belly did yearn as ever for proper eating stuff, I made my bed in the little basin of the rock, and lay me down, and did begin to think a while upon Nani, but was gone over to sleep before that I was aware. And lo, I was suddenly awake, and did find that I swam in a hot water, and a mercy I did think was it that I was not drowned as I did sleep. And I gat me to my feet, and the basin was full of water, hot and steaming, and pungent to the taste, as well I did know. And I perceived now that the water poured in from a smoothed slit upon the far side, and did come with a strange gurgling and bubbling, so that I conceived some deep well to boil, and thus to drive upward this water into the basin. And glad was I that it did not boil as it came forth. And surely, now that I was upon the dry land, and did consider, I did quickly suppose that the water had poured forth at seasons into the basin for an eternity of time, and afterward did go back by fissures in the bottom of the basin, and this to happen, as I soon did find, a little beyond the length of every hour, and indeed the basin to empty slow as I did watch. Now, being much wetted, I stripped off mine armour, having before this dipped out mine effects from the hot pool, and so did come down to the naked flesh, and I found a place where the rock was hot, and here I did spread my garments. And whilst that they came to dryness, I gat me into the hot pool, and had a very pleasant bathing, and did have no great fear of any dangerous thing. For, as it did seem, I had surely left all such behind within the nightlands. Yet did I have the discos upon the pool edge to my hand, for I had no proper assurance in this matter. Yet, as it did prove, there were many monstrous beasts in that country, but never did I feel the nearness and horrid power of any evil force, for these, as I do conceive, were congregate and gathered about the mighty pyramid, being attracted thereto by the great spiritual essence of so wondrous a multitude of humans gotten so close in one spot, even as sharks do come after the ship that hath bullocks within. Yet, how that the evil powers were given entrance unto this state of our life, I have no sure knowing. Yet have I put forward certain thoughts on this matter in an earlier place, and more than such thinking is surely vanity, for there is no certainty in my reasoning concerning the thing. Now, presently was my clothing dry, yet before this I had come out from the bath, which truly was nigh all gone backward into the earth. And I dressed me again, and got my armour upon me, and afterward was I in a more lightsome state of the mind, and yet very ready to come again unto my sleep. And this I did, and had 6 hours more beside the pool, and once was wakened somewhat by the gruntling and bubbling noise of the water, that was made as the pool did fill time and again. And when the 6 hours were gone, I waked very well fitted in my senses and feelings to go forward again through that red-lighted country, and this I did after that I had eat and drunk. Now all that day I went forward at a great pace, and the nameless woods were unto my left, and the shores of the seas unto my right, and oft did I find that the trees grew even into the water, so that oft did I go forward among the trees, and a very wonderful thing was this to me, that never had known before in all my life, until I was come into that country, how that a glad and wild mystery doth live among forest trees. For there was no such strange wildness among the groves of the underground fields, though a solemn beauty is in plenty. And the scent of the woods was sweet unto my spirit, as you shall wot. Now all the time that I did go, there was the shore unto my right, but alway to my left, and round me oft times, as I did say, the great forests. And as I did go, lo, there was life in all those darksome woods, and living eyes did peer out odd whiles upon me, and afterward go backward into the dark, so that I wotted not whether to fear or to have no heed of trouble. Yet naught did come anigh to me to make any hurt. Excuse me. And thrice in that day did I come to little fire hills that burnt redly, and sent out fire and noise, so that I heard their trouble each time through the forest before that I was come to them. And about each was there a deadness and desolation, where the fire had killed the big trees. Yet, as I did observe, the quick life of little plants did grow more nigh, as that they were born and lived between the times of the fire bursts. And this I do take it that you perceive. And in that one day I passed 37 boiling springs, but whether they boiled truly I have no knowledge, only that they sent out a great steam oft times, and some did make a strong roaring noise, so that to hear them afar off in the forests was to think odd times that some wild beast roared strangely. Now, when the 18th hour was come, I sat me down, as I had done upon the 6th and 12th hours, and eat 2 of the tablets, and drank some of the water, which here did fizz very rich and quick. And afterward I lay down to my slumber, for I was greatly wearied. And I had chosen a place against a great rock, which was so that no creature might come upon me from behind. And I came easy upon sleep, but yet I did fix it upon me that I slumber only with the body, for I did know, by the shining of the eyes in the darksome woods, that strange creatures abode in the mighty forests. And ere I was gone over to sleep, I thought upon Nani, as I had done much all that day, as though her spirit did hover near unto mine, and did strive pitiful to speak with me. And this I set out to you, that you shall know how it did seem unto me in my thoughts and fancyings. And as I lay there, I put a blessing upon her, and a determination into my heart, that I make a more desperate speed of my going, if that might be so that I come the sooner to that strange and unknown place in the dead world, where did stand the lesser refuge. And I was then asleep in a moment. And lo, sudden I was awake, and lovely was the brightness of that country that did show me in a moment my danger, and did not keep me suspended in fearful doubt, as did the grey darkness and strange shadows and lights of the nightland. For I saw, on the instant that I got me to mine elbow, how that certain things did crouch within the borders of the trees, no more than a score paces off. And I perceived in a moment that my spirit had been given knowledge, and had wakened me. And I stared, the while that I did grip the discos, and I saw that there were 6 squat men that were humped at the neck and shoulder, and they did crouch all there in a row, and were something hid by the shadows, and I perceived that they watched me, and the eyes of the men did shine like the eyes of beasts, and so shall you know somewhat of the strange terror that came upon me. Yet had I the discos and mine armour, and though my heart did shake a little, yet was my spirit assured to conquer. Now I gat me to my feet, and had the discos ready within my hand, and behold, I could not see the humped men, for they were gone from that place. Yet never did I see them go, though I had kept my gaze very steadfast upon that part where they did hide. And, as you shall understand, I was near ready to believe that there had been nothing there within the border of the wood. Yet truly I knew that the men with the humps had been there, as I had seen. Now I looked presently, and found that I had slept 5 hours, and I eat 2 of the tablets as I did stand there watchful, and afterward drank some of the water, and so was ready to go forward again, for I was grown very anxious to be gone from that place, and did have no knowledge but that those strangely humped men were but a little way off among the trees, and might come upon me in a moment, or, further, that they did go to call an army of other humped men to my destruction. After that I was ready, and had my gear secured upon me, I set off at a great stride, and did hold the discos very handy, and looked this way and looked that way, and all the while made onward with speed. For truly I was grown so lean and hard that it did seem to me that I had power to outpace those men or aught else of their kind. And all that day, through 30 great hours, did I go forward at that stride, and did always watch, and at every 6th hour I eat 2 of the tablets, and drank a little of the water, and went onward again. And so did I hope that I was lost from those humped men. Yet, though I did hope, my faith was not this wise, for twice and thrice did it come to me that there went things through the woods to my left all that day, and did keep always to a level with my speed, yet were always hid. And, as you shall believe, this did be a very shaking thing to my heart, and did make my hope of but little account. Now, because that I had no faith to company my hope, I was not easy to have slumber, until that I was come to a place proper and safe. And so, as I have told, I went onward through 30 great hours. And, in truth, in all that while I did find nowhere that did seem to fit my need. And lo, about the end of the 30th hour I perceived that there was water ahead, besides the water of the sea that was ever to my right. And I thought, maybe, that the sea did go inward at that part of the land, but it was otherwise. For when I was gotten to that place, I found that a river came into the sea, and did come out of all the country that lay unto my left. And in the mouth of this river there was a small island, and surely I did look across to the island, and think it a refuge from the humped men that did surely play dog upon my going. Yet, truly, this was but an idle thought, and my need was that I should come to some way to cross over the river, that I go forward beside the great sea, which did stretch onward, as it did seem for ever, before me upon the far side. Apologies, there's a helicopter going, and I've got my windows open, so it's possibly spilling through. No, it actually looks like it's been filtered out nice. And I knew not how to go across, for I had no power to swim, and had I swum, there were surely monsters in that great and warm flowing river, as you shall believe. And I went upward of the river bank, that I might come to some place where the river did narrow, and surely I had been like to walk a mighty distance to this purpose, but that I came soon to a second river that did enter the first, not a mile above the shore of the sea, so that, as you do perceive, there was the sea to one side of me, and this second river unto the other, and the first river before me, and thus was I sorely perplexed, as any had been truly that was in a like trouble. Yet, as it did chance, the need to go forward, and the danger of the humped men, put wit into me, so that I looked about for a tree that was fallen, and there were many, yet great, so that I was much wearied and something strained of the spirit, before that I gat 2 little trees unto the water. Now, when this was done, I made me a rough pole of a young tree plant, and afterward I lashed the two trees together with my belts and straps, and so had somewhat of a raft. And you shall picture that, all the time as I did go about this business, I was very heedful lest the humped men should come upon me, ere that I was gone free upon the water. And this constant heeding did double the labour of my work, as you shall perceive, yet in the end it was done, and I ready to adventure over the river. And so did I push off with the pole, and I pushed and paddled maybe the half of an hour, for indeed it was all a clumsy contriving, and mayhap I the more so in my labours. Yet presently I was come so far over that I drew nigh to the island, and it did seem a wise and proper thing that I should have my slumber there, and afterward go onward to the farther shore. And this I did. And after that I had eaten and drunk, as ever, I lay down to sleep. And by this time it was 33 hours since last I did slumber, so that I was bitterly awearied. And I had a great and restful sleep, for truly the island did seem a very safe place, and, in verity, I came to no harm, though I was as a dead man for 9 great hours, and so shall you perceive my weariness. And when I was come proper awake, I eat 2 of the tablets, and drank some of the water, and afterward made an end of my voyage, and then did take back my belts and straps from binding the trees, and so forward again upon my way, and no more fearful of the humped men, for surely I did think that I had left them all upon the far shore of the river, though afterward I minded me that they might grow likewise upon the 2 sides, but yet was I only discovered by those upon the one, as you do know. And all that day I went very swift, and passed many strange matters, and did coast upon wonders oft. And in the 6th and 12th hours did I eat and drink as ever, and between the 8th and the 14th hours did I come past 2 mighty fire hills, that made all the country to tremble with their noise. And 4 times did monstrous creatures pass by me, but I was swift hid, and came to no harm. And oft as I did go were my thoughts upon the dear maid that I journeyed to save from destruction. Yet, as you must see, always were my thinkings brought sharply unto my going, so that scarce was I ever set off to ponder upon Nani, but that there came some danger or wonder to give me heed to my way. And because of this, as you have learned, I was more put to plan free of the instant trouble and peril of my way, through all that mighty journey, than to have quiet chance for thoughts of love unto mine own. Yet, truly, was not my journey one whole thought of love unto Nani? And that peril made oft dumb my brain was but the truer song unto my maid. And at times I was among trees, but oft did go past unnumbered boiling springs and small fire hills, and oft was the air full of the noise of little fire hills, and the roar of the boiling springs, but there came no harm unto me. And 1,000 times did I perceive things that had life, and I made a very cautious way, though with a great speed and cleverness of going that made my heart glad. And oft did I come to parts where a great life held the trees, and green stuff did flourish exceedingly, and the air rich and full and wondrous sweet, so that I was fain to think how that in some far-off time it might be that our children's children should come down unto this country, when the upper valley of the Nightland was grown to an utter chill and lacking of air, and here build them a new refuge, if indeed any should come clear of the evil forces and the monsters that did live about the mighty pyramid in the Nightland. Yet how should they come clear of those things, so that this is, as you do perceive, no more than a thought that did rise vaguely in me. And yet, again, who shall say what may be? And onwards I did pass, and I do mind me how that I saw the lower fires of that country to burn very fierce, and this I set to the richness of the air, but yet with no surety of knowledge, and do but tell the same that you shall have the oddments of thought that went oft across my brain, and so have so much knowledge as I concerning this and that. And that's what I've marked out as a decent point to take a break. So, we're going to take a break. And, get up, stretch, move around. Sorry again, it's going to be a short one this evening. I blame the book in multiple different reasons. But yeah, can take a break. Stretch, move around. 5 minutes. And, yeah, come back, discuss bits and pieces from that, and read a bit more. So, see you back here in a bit. Bye for now. Welcome back. Hello. Hi. How are we all doing? I as I was going to the break, I saw your comment further. Humped men reminds you of the weed men? Yes, me too. I had that exact thought while I was reading. Yeah, during that section. It reminded me, for those that don't know, a previous Hodgson story that I've read was The Boats of the Glen Carrick, wasn't it? Which was another kind of weird writing experiment by him. Another kind of fairly dry text. It was like the not even the journals, because that implies that basically almost like an itinerary, like an account of survivors of a shipwreck. I think it was one of his like Sargasso Sea stories, so like out in that area. I couldn't point on a map where it is, but you know, somewhere far away. And yeah, it's like an account of survivors of a shipwreck who end up like stricken on an island and trying to survive, and encounter a variety of weird things. One of which is basically a bunch of people who like they sort of emerge from seaweed, I think, and he describes them, or your narrator describes them as, or labels them as the weed men. Which, you know, in modern vernacular is a very funny thing to call them. So that was another thing of his. But yeah, having the weed men or the humped men. I mean, the other thing that makes me think of just like these men and their humps, their humps, their lovely manly bumps. I don't know. It's sort of it goes that direction. Maybe, but yeah. Also, I glanced up and saw your TLDR, Lynn. I walked, I drank, I slept, and repeat. But the thing is, it's like I walked for 6 hours. Well, I woke up. It's not I ate. I eat, which is a real, because drank past tense. We'll say that I'll say that I drank some water, but I eat some tablets, some sort of food tablets that he's got. Like, you can past tense that one too, buddy. That's okay. We'll understand. But no. But it's like I slept for 6 hours. I waked. I eat. I drink. Or I eat. I drank. I then walked for 6 hours, whereupon I passed many fascinating and wondrous things. And then I did sleep some more. Like, no, that's what we're here for. I made you some tablets, but I eated them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's another thing as well that I didn't address at the start. Because there's not a lot to forage out in the Nightland, and there's not really, as far as I can tell, much potable water. So what he has is like sort of weird future sci-fi rations, which are essentially lembas bread, it sounds like, and powdered water. So he like serves up a little bit of water into a cup, which then reacts with the air and this sort of powder into a cup. Sorry, then reacts with the air and fizzes up into water. Which, you know, not wanting to nitpick, I've read enough sci-fi to know that you just say how a thing is, and you don't expect people to ask too many questions. But if I were to ask questions, I would want to know, how do you get that out of its storage container into the cup that you're going to drink from, without all the rest of the powder in the storage container going, yo, and fizzing up into water too? Yeah, it's dehydrated water, just add water. Exactly. It's inspired and genius. You did wonder if the tablets are more along the lines of lembas bread or vitamin pills. I think it's like a lembas bread kind of thing. Which, like, this is what I come back to as being kind of fascinating about this, and why I love this. This is published in 1912. Hodgson, as it says on the back of the book here, lived 1877 to 1918. And I'm sort of reading this thinking, like, there are so many obvious and interesting comparisons to make to Lord of the Rings, kind of looming large in the future of this as like the big fantasy epic upon upon which everything follows will like hang and pay tribute to, or desperately try to deviate from. But a good while before it, you had this, which I don't know. I just find it fascinating that I'm going to keep sort of saying it. Like, I find it fascinating that this was written or published in 1912, so written like 1911. I don't know how long it took to write it, but yeah, it's kind of wild that, to me anyway, that a story like this was created then. I don't know. I'm not a literary historian, so perhaps someone more educated in that field could go, actually, there was a lot of stuff like this, and it's pretty derivative. But that's where, like, sure, the writing style, the way in which the story is delivered, is by the writer's choice. Very dry, very flat, very bland. But the world that's being described, that he has like imagined up in which to like set this story, is kind of impressive to me. I've not encountered anything else myself from like the stories we've read from this era that like do the same thing. So yeah, I find that pretty commendable. Yeah. I'm also just chugging away at the water this evening. I have had, I think, far too much salt today, so I'm just super dehydrated. Anything else anyone wants to talk about? I'd say we can pad with some extra chat time. And if you're watching / listening on YouTube, do not worry. There's a shortcut in the description below. You can just click straight to when I start reading again, which should probably be in a minute or two. I don't know. Yeah, was there anything else that I sort of crossed? Actually, I did appreciate how saying I could go and search for an example of how he uses that in this unconventional to us sense, but it would take me time. And then in the first sentence, now in 2 hours more I was come now in 2 hours more I was come clear down out of the gorge and stood in that country, and for all that I did feel fresh, troubled and bewildered, yet was I rejoiceful, as you may believe, in the surprising light and splendour of that southern land. Yes, and for all that I did feel fresh and troubled is that sort of, I guess, less regular sense, I think. But yes, there's also a lot of other examples to that part of the chapter anyway. Okay, I feel like I'm rambling. So, I guess I'll continue reading, and we'll finish when and where we finish. There's not loads. So I'll just pick it up and we'll go on if you want. This is continuing from where we left off in the first half. He's just sort of walking, sleeping, made a raft, floated across some water, believes that he has left the humped men behind, and yeah, I'm gonna continue. So let's continue with the Nightland in the middle of chapter 9. Now, a little before the 18th hour was come, I came out from among the trees, and the sea was downward of a great cliff unto my right, for I had gone upward for a long and weary hour. And I did see now a thing that made me to be cautious, and yet that did hold my heart to go swiftly to perceive the thing, for it was very strange. And I went forward quickly, yet with a wise care, and so was come presently more nigh. And I perceived that the thing was, in part, a high rock very tall and pointed, and maybe 100 feet high, but afterward I did find it to be more. and there was a monstrous great thing upon the top of the rock that did seem very strange. And I stopped, and looked, and afterward went forward again, and so for a time, until that I was but a little way off. And now I saw that there did seem to be a mighty long rock laid across the topmost part of the upstanding rock, and yet had a very strange and shapely appearance, and did seem upon the under part to be as that I had looked before upon it. And upon the upper part there grew trees and green things, even as these did grow upon odd ledges of the upstanding rock. Yet, for the most, the rock was very stark, as that a blast had blown upon it and made it bare. Now, when I had looked for a while, I bethought me that this should be a safe and proper place for my slumber, if that I had power to come safe to the top. And when I had thought this thing, I began at once to climb up the rock, and I found that a rock was very high, so that in a while I was come a great way off the earth, and yet was not come to the top of the rock. And because that I was awearied, I looked about for a safe place to mine hand, and lo, there was a shelf of the rock very nigh, that went inward a little to the side. And I gat me to this ledge, and did eat and drink, and presently I slept, and scarce had thought of Nani in the moment of my slumbering, for a great weariness was upon me, the which I do think to have come by reason that I was not yet proper rested from the task of the day that was gone before that one. Now I waked very sudden, maybe 7 hours after, and I had knowledge within me that my spirit did wot of some nigh danger. And I gat upward from the rock very quiet, and had the discos ready in my hand. And I looked swift about me in the moment that I did wake, yet did see nothing, for there was naught on the ledge with me. And I crept to the edge, and looked downward, and lo, I did see that there came up the rock 2 humped men, and they did climb very swift and silent, and I perceived that they smelled me, and came to destroy me. And I made ready the discus to do battle, and ceased not to look downward. And I saw how the humped men did seem to be humped by reason of their being so monstrous, thick, and mighty of the neck and the shoulder, as that they had been human bulls. And I saw that they were very strong, and by the speed of their climbing I knew they were swift. And so did I make steady my attention and my heart to the saving of my life, for truly I did know that I should be dead in a little, or they. Now I stepped back a space from the edge of the rock, and had the discus very ready, for it was needful that I should kill one of those brute men speedy, that I have no danger that one take me in the back, whilst that I fight with the other. Then, in a moment it did seem, there came upward of the rock edge the great and brutish face of the man, and in that moment that I slew him, I did note curiously how that he had large teeth upon each side of the mouth, and was aware that he had come so quiet as a great cat. And in the backward parts of my brain I bethought that even thus, maybe, was primal man, so that a strange and secondary questioning and wondering did live in that part of me. And I did learn from these scarce conscious reasonings that I was of belief the thing was truly a man, but very crude and dangerous. And surely it is strange that I had all this thought in that little moment, but in verity so it was, though I doubt not but I bettered it with afterthoughts, when a while had gone. Now the first man died ere his great haired breast was come upward over the rock, and he sank back and sagged and fell dully, and I heard him bodge downward from rock to rock, very lumbersome, and so in a moment was silence. Then did I look this way and that way of the ledge, for the second humped man was not yet upon me, and I feared that the pause did mean a cunning mischief and strategy. And when a little time had passed, and all the while I was ready with the discus, and naught did come upward to harm me, I stepped very soft to the edge of the rock ledge, and looked downward, but there was nowhere anything to see. Now, for a little moment I did think that the brutish man had run off, being feared by the death that I did deal unto the first. Yet I put this from me at once, for I did wot that such a creature did not be like to fear in such wise, but was rather set to some horrid cunning of attack, as I did fear, and was somewhere below me among the holes of the great rock. Then I did think sudden that he might be gone upward, so that he should come down upon my back, and I looked upward of the mighty rock, but did see naught. And afterward I stooped forward a great way beyond the edge, so that I should perceive whether the man did hide beneath. And, behold, he was there below me, and crouched under the rock-shelf, ready to spring. And in that moment he made unto me with so mighty a leap as any tiger should give. And he came half over the edge, and gripped the discus by the handle in an instant. And surely I had lost that trusted weapon, or been pulled over and cast into the depth, but that the discus did spin, and the earth current did make live the handle, as was intended, save where the grip was set. And lo, the man gave loose the handle very swift, for it had burned and shaken the creature sore, and I staggered back, with the effort I had made to withhold the discus, and the brutish man came upward again over the rock edge, and leapt at me. Yet he gat me not, for I sprang unto my right, and made a blow with the discus, even as I did leap. And the blow came something short, but yet harmed the humped man with a gash upon the belly, very sore and horrid among the great brown hairs of the man. And immediately he sprang after me, but I smote full at the face, so that he leaped back from the strange roar and blaze of the discus, and yet was harmed. For he gat not right free of the blow, but did be cut very sore on the mighty and haired arm. Now, seeing that he was something feared of the weapon, I ran in upon him, and smote again at the face. Yet was the man gone out of my reach, before that the blow did reach, for truly he was quick as a panther. And immediately he did leap unto the ending of the ledge, where it did join upon the rock, and he caught the living rock between his two hands. And truly the rock must have been splitten there, for he tore out a monstrous lump, so great near as my body, and did run upon me with the rock above the head of him. Now I perceived I should be smashed in a moment, if that I did not slay the man very quick, for so mighty was he that he did leap this way and that way after me, as though the great rock did cumber him no more than it had been but a light matter. And you shall perceive that I leapt this way and that way to avoid the man, and twice did strike him, but yet was feared to break the discus upon the rock, which the man did use as a shield each time that I did make a blow. And all the while I did act to escape when that the man should cast the rock, as I did conceive at the first to be his intent. Yet truly it was as that he had no wotting that a rock may be thrown, for he strave only to come at me with the rock, that he should crush me, as with a monstrous club. And, in verity, what should a man do against so horrid an attack? And time and oft did I leap now to the right and now to the left, and again in a moment I did cut the humped man. But the blow was something turned off by the great rock in the hands of the man. Yet so strange and mighty was the power of the discus that it shore away a small portion of the rock, and did come to no hurt in itself. And surely I had presently failed in wind and limb because of the leapings and chargings that I did make, and because of the weight of the armour that was not overmuch, yet to be considered. But that I fainted not was by reason of the wondrous hardness and leanness that I was grown to, with so constant a journeying and straight living. For the tablets did keep the strength in a man, though truly they eased not the yearnings of the belly. And lo, even the brutish man did grow weary, and the hot breath and body stink to come from him. And surely who shall wonder, for always he did rush to and fro upon me, with the monstrous rock to crush me. And sudden I leapt unto the right of the man, thinking within me that I did perceive a chance that I should cut him upon that side. But truly he was less awearied than I did know, for he came very sharp upon me, and had me between him and the wall of the rock, and surely I had no room to make escape, and had died in a moment, but that I made a sudden sham toward the left with the discus, as that I should leap that way. And in the same instant I did go to the right with a strong bounding, and immediately did come in upon the humped man from that side. And I put my fortune of life to the stroke, and stood anigh to the man, and I smote him across the middle part, before that he did wot of my intent. And the blow slew the man very surely, and did nigh cut the mighty creature in twain. And surely he fell, half leaping even as he died, so that the monstrous rock that was in the hands of the brutish man did crash down almost upon my feet, and I leapt very high that I should escape the thundering of the rock. For, in verity, I was near slain in that last moment of the life of the humped man. But yet I lived, and came free of death, and did have a relief of happiness about my heart, as you shall believe. Yet, truly, I was much shaken, and a little weakness took me, so that I was fain to go down upon the rock shelf, that I have back my strength. And presently I was grown steady again, and I took my gear, and did haste down the rock, and so was come presently to the earth again. And I saw the first of the humped men that I did slay, lying very quiet a little off from the bottom of the rock, so that I went round upon the other side to avoid the man, for it was no pleasure to mine eyes or to my heart. And truly it did trouble me always to make a death. And when I was come round upon the other, which was the seaward side of the rock, I perceived that I was yet shaken, and I remembered that it were wise to eat and drink and rest a little, before that I did go further upon my way. I shall do the same. Hydrate, everybody. Now, as I did sit there at the bottom of the rock, I looked upward at the strange crown thereof, and until that time I had been taken up with the fight and with gazings this way and that, to see whether there came others of the humped men to work me a harm. But now that I was given some ease of the mind and of the body, I saw plainly that I knew the thing that lay upward upon the rock. For the shape had been something strange and half known to me even before that moment, as that I had a vague knowledge concerning it, but yet with no surety. And now, truly, I did know in a little instant that the thing was one of the olden flying ships, the which, as you shall mind, there were certain in the great museum of the mighty pyramid. And surely I was ready to wonder why that I had not seen the thing plain before that moment. Yet was this like to be because that there was a shadow upon the other side of the great rock, but upon this side there was a little fire hill away off to the cliff edge, and this did throw a warm light that made a glimmer upon the dull metal of the ship's bottom, which was uncovered to my sight, and was surely of the same deathless grey metal that made the great redoubt. And yet, as you shall believe, even as I said this thing to my mind, that the strange matter upon the top of the rock was truly one of the olden airships, I did feel that I should be proper to doubt. For it was a very wondrous thing to perceive a thing common to man in that utter strange country, and after that I was gone so far off from the mighty pyramid. Yet, in verity, I did know in my heart that it was indeed that which I did perceive it to be, and I did stand and walk to and fore, and look upward constant, for I was very keen that I look well upon it. And truly, as I did look from this place and from that place, it was scarce a thing for wonder that I had not wotted it to be an air vessel, for there were great trees and abundance of earth and living matters upon the topmost side of the ship, so that none could easy perceive it to be aught save a great and desolate rock that did lie upon the other rock. Yet truly it was as I have told, and presently I did make to climb upward of the great rock, that I should come to the air vessel to enter it. But yet was this not proper, for I had surely no duty save to go forward for ever until that I found the maid. But yet did I spend a little while to this searching of the ship, and I do but set down that which I did, and with a serious spirit. And truly, as it doth here occur to me, I do be ever seeming a serious young man, as you maybe shall have grown to think. But yet was I to a dread and serious business, and the strain did be too great upon me, and the trouble too much pressed upon my heart, to give me much of laughter, as you do surely perceive, and so you to give me your ear and your understanding. For, indeed, before that I did lose Meerdath, my beautiful one, I was not over grave, but so young and joyous as any. Now it took me a great time to go upward of the rock, for it was so monstrous steep and high, yet presently was I come nigh under the bottom of the ship, and here I did perceive that she had been sore battered in that far-off age, where she did come upon the rock. For surely, as I did perceive, the peak of the rock was through the bottom of the ship, so that the metal was burst this way and that, and very plain to be seen in some parts. But in other places the earth and growing matters did make a hiding. And after that I had climbed this way and that way, I perceived that I must come to the topmost part of the plants that did hang over and grow downward. And after that I had pulled upon them, to know that they were strong to hold me, I went upon them, and was soon to the top of the ship. Yet truly I might so well have been upon the earth, for the ship was covered above by the earth and dust of a monstrous age of years, so that I was like to need much time to dig downward unto the ship. And because of this I considered a little while, and afterward made no more to search her, but did go downward again, that I should come once more to my journey. Yet, as you shall think, it was with a queer thrilling of the heart, and with strange thoughts upon the end of those that did come, maybe, to a bitter and lonesome dying in that ship of the air, in that far-off time when she did fly. And surely it did seem to me, as I went downward of the great rock, how that the flying ship had been there for 100,000 years, and that mayhaps the sea did live all about the rock in that age. And truly this was no improper thing to think, for it was like that the sea had been monstrous high and great in those days, so that the rock was but a little island in the midst of the sea. And now was the sea gone small from a great sea to lesser seas, and this through an eternity of years. And always, as it doth seem to me, had the ship lain upon the rock, and looked quiet and silent over the change and wonder and the lonesomeness of all that country of fire and water for ever. But how the airship did come upon the rock, how shall I know? Save, maybe, it doth seem that she might have flown low over the sea in that olden age, and come hard upon the rock, because, maybe, there was one to the helm that did steer unwittingly. And again, it shall well be otherwise, and I do but set down mine odd thoughts, and such as they be, they have no especial use, save that they do show to you the different workings of my mind at that time, as I did go downward, and so to set you the more in possession of all that I did have knowledge of. And presently I was come again to the earth, and did go forward with a great speed, so that I should waste no more of the day. Yet oft did I think upon that ship, hid there upon the mighty rock, under the wondrous quiet ashes of eternity. And I went 18 hours walking, and in all that time I did see no more of the humped men. Yet 3 times was I put in a sudden danger, for there went past me thrice, between the 14th and the 17th hours, great flying monsters that were winged very ugly, and did go, as I thought, in a great bounding, rather than that they did fly proper, as doth a bird. Yet I suffered no hurt from these, for I was swift to hide between the great boulders that were very plenty in that part, but no trees, for I was gone now past the forests of trees, there being none since that I had gone through a very shallow river, that I came to about the 13th hour. And this had I waded, and sounded my path with the staff of the discos, but I had kept mine armour upon me, lest there be things, even in water so shallow, that might bite and work harm upon me. But I gat through pretty quick, and had no hurt done me. Now I had eat, as ever, at the 6th and 12th hours, and by that the 18th hour was come, I was nigh again unto a forest that came down to the shore, that went alway upon my right. And I to be very sore and wearied, as you shall know, for I had fought very desperate after my waking, and afterward climbed the great rock, and then again to journey, so that it was, by this, nigh to 21 hours since that I did sleep. And surely I looked this way and that way constant, and did see no proper place to my slumber. But afterward I considered I did be a fool to lack such, for truly the trees were plentiful, and I could climb a great one, and strap my body safe, and so have a sure bed for my rest. And I did this thing, and went upward into a great tree, and did tie my body to the tree with my belts. Yet I eat and drank before I went up the tree. Now when I was fast upward in the tree, and had made a bed upon a monstrous branch, and had the discos ready upon my hip, so that it should not fall, but be nigh to my hand, I lay a little while, thinking upon Nani, and I went not over to sleep immediately, which was strange, yet mayhaps because that my bed was so uncertain. And I considered very gravely how that it was a monstrous long while since that I did hear the master word from the dear maid, and truly I was come a dreadful way from mine home, which was the mighty pyramid, for I had gone onward for ever through 25 great days of travel, and was not yet come to any place that did appear like to be that place where the maid did abide. And it did seem that I might even wander onward in that great country of fire and water for a time beyond all that I had before gone, and this thought did put a great weight of trouble and weariness upon my heart, for the maid had been in sore need of me, and I did feel sudden to be all adrift in the wilderness. But before this time it had seemed as that I surely went aright, and mayhaps your sympathy shall tell you just how I to feel in the heart. And after that I had lain there very awkward, and thought upon all matters, I minded me that I would try the compass again upon the morrow, but had no great hopes of the machine, yet did be willing to try aught to see where I had gotten to. And truly, as it did come to my mind, if that the compass did point a little as I did what it was used to point in the Lesser Redoubt, then In verity, I was surely come something more anigh to that unknown place of the world than I did dare to believe, and this to be plain to you. Then a little time did pass, in which I did wake and sleep a little, but with no surety of sleep, but as that I was very tired of the heart, and did but lie too wearied to come properly to sleep. And odd whiles I did lie with mine eyes half to open, and did look very dreamful upward among the dark branches of the tree, as they did show black and pretty against the redness of the shining that came from the sea. For there was stood a great and bright burning fire-hill in that part of the sea that lay off the shore from me, and above the glaring of the fire-hill there was the deep night that did brood for ever above in a monstrous black gloom of eternity, and did make the red smoke of the volcano to show deep and mighty and thunderous seeming, afar up in the great dark. And the red and shining smoke did but show the utter hugeness of the night that had been upon the world through the great ages. And, in verity, as I did lie there so dreamful, it did come to me afresh how wondrous strange was mine adventure, and how that I did lie warm and alive in a country of red light and smoking seas. And, truly, as I did remember and consider, there was a great and lost world above me upward through the dark, maybe 150 great miles up in the grim night. And this thing did strike me very solemn, as I did lie, and I do trust that you conceive how that there was, in truth, afar above in the eternal and unknown night, the stupendous desolation of the dead world, and the eternal snow and starless dark. And, as I do think, a cold so bitter that it held death to all living that should come anigh to it. Yet, bethink you, if one had lived in that far height of the dead world, and come upon the edge of that mighty valley, in which all life that was left of earth did abide, they should have been like to look downward vaguely into so monstrous a deep, that they had seen naught, mayhaps, save a dull and utter strange glowing far downward in the great night, in this place and in that. And surely, as you shall have seen, I have set the great deep of the valley to be, maybe, 150 miles of night. For, as you do mind, it was conceived that the valley of the night land was 100 miles deep, and mayhap to be more, and I had come from that place downward of the mighty slope, and of the gorge, a very great way. Yet, in verity, I do believe in my heart this measuring was utter wrong, for I think the deep to have been monstrous beyond these miles that I do give, yet have I no proving of this belief, and do set it down for no more than it is. And I think that brings me to where I thought I would end the reading for tonight. And honestly, I think that's a good place to finish, because I can feel myself mentally starting to check out. It's a battle against ADHD, I think. Maybe a battle against ADHD. I, like, some of those paragraphs at the end, I became aware that, like, in the middle of it, I've just checked out, and I'm having to pull my focus back onto the sentence that I'm reading, and it's, focus battles are tough. Yeah, indeed. Also, hello, Stephen. Welcome in. I glanced up and saw you sneaking in late. I hope you're doing well. I was lurking on your stream earlier. Doing a bit of Silk Song, that was the one. Maybe just, yeah, I think my brain is just melting and pouring out my ears now. You think you misheard bulls, you assume he didn't say human bulls. No, I tried to pronounce it bulls, B-U-L-L-S, is how he is describing the humped men with their lovely manly humps. You do wonder the tablets were more along the lines of Lembas bird or vitamin. Sorry, no, that was before, but what was it? Yeah, tablets do sound like a nutrient pill situation. Yeah, reading it more and thinking about it, it sounds like he's got sort of yeah, some kind of sustenance pill that doesn't really fill the stomach but gives him what he needs to keep going. Yeah, that sounds about right. Doing good, thanks. Had dinner and a movie. Ooh, what did you see? If you don't mind sharing. But yeah, there's more of that chapter to come next week, ideally. We will get through this book, I promise you, for what that's worth. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else to discuss from this. It's just stuff happening. Third Knives Out film. Ooh, was this your first time watching it? Lucy and I watched that and really, really enjoyed it. She's seen all three. I've only seen 1 and 3. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm not gonna go into spoilers, but I, you know, I agree with that. Like the scene in the middle of the film, trying to be light on spoilers. The scene in the middle of the film with the phone call, which I think a lot of people connected with, including myself. That that broke me in half. And usually do something show length with dinner, but trying to make more time for movies more often. Hell yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I've because I'm trying to be a guy that collects films now, and like buying physical media and stuff. And yeah, I've been trying to, inconsistently, unfortunately, but trying to make more time for watching films and like collecting films and actually enjoying and appreciating films. Like the latest one that I've acquired is Network, which I'm really looking forward to watching. I watched it back in film studies. What year? 1976. It's from. It's the I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore speech comes from, and it's a film with a story that feels quite relevant today. To it's about broadly, because as I say, we watched it back in, it would have been film studies, which is for me somewhere in the region of like 25 years ago, and I wasn't the best student, so I didn't pay too much attention to it at the time. But broadly about like a TV presenter who has like a complete breakdown live on air and kind of gets turned into, like, basically the executives realize, oh, this is really good ratings. Watching this guy rant and rave and lose his mind on TV makes all the numbers go up, so we're going to monetize this. And he's like, basically his ranting and raving and railing against the system becomes very profitable for the system. And hey, Sam, why did you remember this film and think it would be one that you might want to watch that could be relevant still in this day and age, in the year of Waluigi 2026? Oh, I don't know. Could be anything. Went to the cinema recently for the first time since COVID started, and it was first time in ages you fully watched a film without looking at your distraction rectangle. I struggle with that. I've not been to the cinema in a long time. Definitely not since COVID. I mean, partly for me, it kind of got to be a problem because of like anxiety and stuff. Like paying now an exorbitant amount of money to go and sit in a room, basically under like entering into this contract whereby I have to sit here for a lot of cases 3 hours watching this thing, and if I like need to get up and leave, if anything like that I need interrupts that, I can't pause it, and so therefore I'm wasting money, my own, like I'm like breaking my side of the contract if I like break that, interrupt that at all. That's made it very difficult for me to go to the cinema, which is a shame because I kind of used to like going. It was nice. Yeah, but it's like I feel bad. Up until I think Oppenheimer. I'm a let's be real. I'm a cishet middle-aged white guy. I don't have kids, but that's the only thing sort of not on the list. So I'm prime. Chris Nolan's a great director territory. If that's my opinion. And like I'd seen all of his films in the cinema up until Oppenheimer. No, Tenet. So I hadn't seen Tenet in the cinema, and then I didn't see Oppenheimer. But yeah, when I kind of broke that streak, I was kind of sad. Um, but yeah, films are good, and I recommend watching more of them and enjoying them. And yeah, finding ways to put away the distraction rectangle. Like I'm bad. I'm really bad at having my like subconsciously just like taking my phone out and unlocking it so I can look and go, oh, and then putting it away again. You're going more of it, but not so loud that you're in sensory overload before the movie starts. Yeah, that's fair. I think I yeah, for me, I feel like I like that, but with like the anxiety creeping in around the whole cinema thing, I have found kind of, I suppose in a similar way, that it tends to exacerbate the anxiety. Like time was, I would find that thrilling. Like when I was younger, like going to the cinema and everything's just like loud and overwhelming. I would find that thrilling and exciting. And now it's like, oh, I feel like I'm about to be attacked from every angle. I don't like this. I feel uncomfortable, and that then it's like, yeah, it's flipped and is now like a mirror version of the good, and now it's bad instead. Home movie watching and physical media for the win. Yeah, like I say, it's like I miss it, but also it's like what like the ideal state for me would be kind of figuring out a way to manage this problem such that I could go back to the cinema. I mean, the other problem being that I've seen a lot of films lately that I just didn't particularly enjoy, like modern recent films. Other people would go, oh yeah, this was pretty good, go see it, and then I'd watch it and go like, it was fine, but I didn't really like it. It just seemed like stuff happening for a couple hours, and I didn't really get that much from it. And like, that's where it's been nice, like going back and watching some older films, not not to sound like everyone is like, oh, back in my day, but you know, that's we do still make good films. I'm not going to pretend we don't. Like we do still make good films, and there's a lot of good films being made all the time. But then you like go back and watch something from like the 90s, the noughties, the 80s, whatever, and like, oh damn, we made some good films back then. I showed Lucy Terminator 2 the other day. She'd not seen that. It's like that's still a good film. Do you like some cinemas are running older film nights now? See, that's great. I love that. Like that to me, it's when you sort of stop and think about it, it seems sad that most cinemas, like for a long time at least, cinemas are just like, we're just showing the latest releases and that's it. Like, but what if? But there's so many. There's like, just there's this wealth of really great films that you can still put up on a big screen, and like you can, it's rereading the classics, it's rewatching the classics, it's playing that old video game that you remember and love, and like revisiting it and going like, yeah, you know what, I can appreciate this again and perhaps in a new light. Smallco, if you've not been to the cinema in years, you think the last time was the new Star Wars. Wow. Very hard to convince yourself to leave the house if you could just watch a movie at home and be less tired, or not watch a movie and take a nap instead. It's a problem. Yeah, no, I get that. I've only ever been to the cinema once by myself, and back on Chris Nolan. That was to see Dunkirk, which was really good. I'm glad I did it. I enjoyed seeing that a lot in the cinema. Your local one, Edge of Tomorrow, on the other day. Edge of Tomorrow is a great film. Jurassic Park, amazing. Jurassic Park still holds up. That's the thing. Like you watch that and it's like, yeah, I know this film. I've seen it before. But you watch it and like, oh wait, no, yeah, this is a banger. This is you know, we turns out we know how to make good films. Um, there's a lot of good films about. Um, yeah, I was just glancing over at the small collection of films that I have over my shoulder. Uh, Although on TV shows instead, just to pull a tangent, Lucy and I finished watching Severance season 2 yesterday. Really enjoyed it. It continues to be a really good series. I I hope as ever that, because apparently it's been picked up for a third season. I hope as ever they don't tell us too much. I don't worry, I won't go into spoilers. I don't want to be that person that spoils things. But yeah, really enjoyed it, and they did a good job of like paying out bits of the mystery without giving away everything. Oh, Taxi Driver, Goodfellas, Casino. Oh damn. Okay. Taxi Driver is another one that I've been feeling recently. I should get. I should like find myself a copy of that. Because there's a lot of films that well, Taxi Driver is another one that I watched in film studies, and the short way to put this is I'm a very different person now to who I was then. And I have a very different outlook on the world and understanding of, you know, the world and things happening within it. And like the classic example, you know, being like Fight Club. You know, the people that watch Fight Club and misunderstand Fight Club and think, oh, Tyler Durden's a really cool guy. Look at him. He's Brad Pitt. He's all like handsome and wearing wacky clothes and has this incredible physique, and he's like a cool fighter, and like, yeah, I love Fight Club. I love Tyler Durden. And you're not meant to. It's always interesting to go back and watch films you watch as a student. Yeah, like I really want to do. I mean, it's why I picked up Network. Like I want to actually appreciate these things for myself. And you know, it's almost like I want to like test myself, and like, and the problem is like, you know, Taxi Driver. I know Taxi Driver. I know that. I know sort of what you're meant to take from these films, and it's like I want to start, like, I guess trying to form my own opinions on these things, and yeah, like appreciating them now as an adult with a different set of experiences behind me. Same with rereading books. Yeah, exactly. Which, yeah, that's right. I look up my shelf like, damn, I've got some pretty good books on my shelf that I've enjoyed. I should reread those. But they take a little bit longer than putting a film on for 2 hours. Yeah. Which I guess really where I'm going with this is we should do more movie nights on the Discord. We should. I still want to keep them as like an infrequent special event, but I do enjoy watching good films. And apologies for chair creaking. I enjoy watching good films, and I don't do it often enough because I think, as other people, you know, the thrill of cancelled plans, like. I will spend the entire runtime of a film just browsing and being like, oh, I could watch this. Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know. Oh, that's 3 hours long. No, I don't think I'll watch that. Oh, maybe this. No, not sure. No, I've seen. No, I remember that scene in that. No, okay. What about the? And I'll do that for like 2.5 hours and not watch a thing. And actually, just like locking it down and going, oh, let's watch this. Let's watch Looper. I'm just again just me looking over my shoulders. Let's watch Moon. Let's watch what else we got over there? Interstellar, and my other film shelves covered up at the moment. Like, let's just pick something and watch it. And you know, then it's done, and then you can just do that and see what people think. You've been going back through albums and stuff and suddenly getting what lyrics mean. You miss as a 15-year-old. Oh, yeah, grief. Yeah, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, yeah, I've definitely Definitely done that a few times. You go back and listen to something. Oh yeah, this is a great song. Whoa, what the hell is that? What? Oh right, that's what you were singing about. Okay, well, missed that first time. Um, you watched and enjoyed several movies on movie night you would not have seen otherwise. Yeah, like that's it's I like sharing this stuff. I like and sort of trying to like. There's a thing of like I like sharing things that I enjoy with other people in the hope that other people enjoy it, but also like what I'm myself trying to do is distance the like. It's very easy when doing that to be like, and this reflects well on me as a person, right? Like, if I share something with someone else that they like, then I'm there telling myself like, yes, now they like me more because I shared them. And it's like attaching my own value to the things that I enjoy and share with other people. But really, it's just like, hey, I think this thing's cool. I think people might enjoy it. Did you enjoy that? Great. And then like my own sort of. I then like become sort of personalized recommendation algorithm, like, okay, well, if you like this, then you'll like this other, or you might like this other thing too. Try this, have a look at that. But yeah, it's just fun sharing stuff with people. It's just nice to share your interests, to find things that you like and put them in front of other people and say, do you like this too? I think that's just a very basic human trait, and it's nice to do. And yeah, I would like to do that more. I think it would be fun. I mean, I guess you've turned up at the end. Oh yeah, no, this is quite a short one. I've just been like sitting here rambling. We're talking about films. I've said that we finished Severance season 2 and enjoyed it. But yeah, welcome in. Speaking of sharing interest, you did a cool piece tonight. Was it Stars by What's His Chops? The piece that I keep sending you to say, hey, have you heard this? Like, yes, I heard that a month ago when you sent it to me before. But look at me. I remembered the name. Are you proud? Let's go. Are you surprised that I remembered the name? I can't tell you the composer, but I finally remembered the name at the perfect opportunity. Thank you. Oh, that's so good. How did it go? Eric Essenwald's. Yes, thank you. No shade to him, have already forgotten. Eric's Essenwald's. Latvian. Right. It went well. Good. Well, I'm glad to hear it. Well, I guess that's probably my cue to squeak the chair some more. And, oh, that probably came right through on the mic. Apologies. I need to get a new mic arm. I've had this one for some amount of time now, and I should probably replace it. Yeah, for context, I listen to Radio 3 Unwind a lot. It's like a cool sister channel to Radio 3, where they just, well, not just, but mostly play chill music of different kinds. It's like, one of my favorite things is they have a regular like magazine show, I guess. Well, no, not magazine. No, it's sort of just like compilation music show, hosted by different composers. That's called Ultimate Calm, and it's just always seemed like a slightly paradoxical. It's like the ultimate calm. You are going to feel so calm when you listen to this show. But yes, I listen to this radio station quite a lot. It's online. DAB, and one of the pieces that plays a lot on there, like every, I don't know, a few weeks, 3-4 weeks maybe, is this lovely choral piece called Stars by Eric Essenwald. Thank you, because it's still there in chat. And it's really nice, and I, for whatever reason, cannot retain this information that I have heard this and sent it. It's like I'm hearing it new for the first time every time. I go, oh, this is really nice. I should send this to Lucy. And then Lucy goes, yes, it was the last time you sent it to me too. And I realised, oh no. I'm the guy from Memento. I'm John Memento. And so it's this fun little thing we have. Guess what? I actually remembered it. So there. You've done it with your choir at least 3 times. So I'm not wrong in recommending it. Right? Not a bad recommendation. Just a bad recommendation. Just a bit late to the party. Yeah. Better Nate than Lever. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'm going to wrap things up there. I believe, in theory, Lucy, are you going to be back reading on Wednesday? Unless anything comes up. Is that, wait, is that, I can't work out the chat delay. Is that, yup, sure, to what I've just asked? Maybe. Should be. Great. Well then, come back on Wednesday for some more short stories that may or may not. I'm just guessing here. Maybe Catherine Mansfield. Who knows? Who could possibly say? And otherwise, I intend to be back next Saturday for more of this. But for now, I'm going to go. So thank you all for being here. You have been, as ever, a wonderful, lovely, engaging audience. I always appreciate people like listening in and chatting and talking about stuff. Always nice. And yeah, go take care of yourselves. Avoid the heat, and look after yourselves and the people around you. And we will see you next time. Goodbye.